I think the NBA fell short in their suspension. I don't think 5 games is harsh enough. And I'm not even talking about going harder on Draymond Green. I think if Adam Silver truly wanted to send a message to Draymond Green, to have him cut the crap, basically, and stop with these Bush League antics and ridiculous non-basketball plays on the court, he should have suspended Steve Kerr. If you wanted to truly send a message, Adam Silver, along with suspending Draymond Green, should have suspended Steve Kerr. Because I think right now the only way to get to Draymond, the only way to change how he plays on the court is by really getting to the only person right now that's enabling him. Steve Kerr is enabling Draymond to act the way he is because he always has an excuse as to why Draymond acts out. He punches Jordan Poole, oh, it's no problem. He chokes out Rudy Gobert, oh, well, Rudy had his arm around Klay Thompson's neck, so it's all good. Draymond was doing the right thing. Anything Draymond does that's out of line, Steve Kerr has an excuse for. And part of the reason why you can fine Draymond all you want, you can suspend Draymond all you want, why his acts don't change, is because his biggest supporter is essentially his boss. Right? Would you change if your boss, anytime you did something controversial that everyone else said was ridiculous, your boss kept saying, hey, don't worry about them. You got this. You're in the right. I got your back. That's what Steve Kerr does anytime Draymond acts out. So why would Draymond change his attitude, change his philosophy, if every time he gets into trouble, there's Steve Kerr to pat him on the tush and say, hey, no worries, buddy. I got your back. And then defend him in front of everybody. That's why if you're Adam Silver, you go after Steve Kerr. You send a message, not only Draymond, but to Steve, this is not acceptable. We cannot have a player choking another player out on the court. We cannot have a player stomping on the chest and kicking in the groin and flailing arms and tackling and all the other crap he does on the court. We cannot have that in our game. And the only way you do that is by not only punishing Draymond, but punishing Draymond's enabler, Steve Kerr. Sending the message, bright as day to Steve, get your guy in line. Otherwise, nothing is changing. This is what, the 500th suspension for Draymond Green? He's probably lost $1 million in fines, maybe more throughout his career. Money doesn't impact him. Missing games doesn't impact him. The only thing left to do if you're Adam Silver is to punish the guy that lets him keep on doing it. If you want to hurt Draymond and actually send a message, then punish the guy that Draymond loves and adores in Steve Kerr, that he respects in Steve Kerr. And have him realize my actions are now impacting the guy I love in Steve. Otherwise, if you're Adam Silver, nothing's going to change. He's continually crossed the line. He's going to continue to make a mockery of the game. He's continued to put other players, by the way, in harm's way. Forget about Draymond. Adam Silver's lucky that we didn't see last night Rudy Gobert go to sleep and have a player passed out on the court because another player put him in a chokehold and knocked his lights out. You can't have that. But right now, there is nothing you can do to curb Draymond's attitude and actions because part of it is there's no fear. There is no fear from Draymond or any other player that they're going to actually face the wrath of Adam Silver because we've never seen it. It's a player-driven league. There is no fear of repercussions right now in the NBA. And that is part of the reason why I think you see Draymond go to the lengths he did, where he went in there last night. He didn't care that Rudy Gobert was trying. Draymond used last night's skirmish that involved Klay Thompson as an excuse to get his anger out in a violent way on Rudy Gobert. That was premeditated. You see the way he charged over and immediately took Rudy by the neck. That was months and years of pent-up frustration. All Draymond needed was a little bit of a spark to get it going. That little fracas, the little pushing was the excuse he needed to jump in there and go to work. And part of the reason why he felt no fear in doing that is because there's no fear of repercussions. 5 games, in November is a slap on the wrist. It's a vacation for Draymond Green. He has no fear. Whether it's from the Warriors when he punched Jordan Poole and faced zero consequences for it, whether it's now when you choke out a player on the court and you're slapped on the wrist 5 games, he's going to relax, hang out, probably do a few podcasts, come back and pretend like nothing happened. And that is on Adam Silver because he has never struck fear in the players' hearts. And part of Adam Silver's problem and why the league is the way it is, where players act the way they want and having no fear of being punished, is because Adam Silver puts the players above the game. You need to put the game above the players because that's in reality what any sport is like. We love LeBron. We love Luka Doncic. We love Giannis, any star player you want. But guess what? People love Magic Johnson. People love Michael Jordan. The game of basketball didn't die because Kareem retired, because Michael Jordan retired, because LeBron's going to retire sooner rather than later. The NBA is not going into the toilet when LeBron James hangs it up. The game of basketball, like any sport, continues. The players come and go, but the game continues. And that is one thing Adam Silver has failed to ever recognize. And that's why Roger Goodell deserves a massive amount of credit. Say what you want about Raj. He is the guy who realizes football is what stays. The players come and go. So he doesn't care if he has to suspend the face of the NFL and Tom Brady 4 games for deflating a football illegally. He knows people are watching no matter what. Whether Tom Brady's playing or not, people are watching Patriots games. Whether you name it, any player gets into trouble, they are usually punished. Why? Because Roger Goodell knows no matter who is on the field, people are watching. I mean, do we have to bring up the ratings from last Thursday night's NFL game between the Bears and the Panthers? There was no reason to watch that game between 2 bad teams, yet a ton of people did. Why? Because the game of football, like any sport, is bigger than who plays it. And Adam Silver has failed to recognize that the game of basketball is bigger than the players who play it. He puts Draymond, he puts Kyrie, he puts LeBron above the entire sport. And that's why you see slap on the wrist punishments like a 5-game suspension for Draymond Green. And you rarely see actual punishment doled out. And that's why you don't see any players with fear in their eyes, with fears of getting in trouble if they act out. And that's why I would have suspended Steve Kerr along with Draymond Green. Draymond's numb to suspensions. He doesn't care. I'm sure he's looking forward to it. But if you punish Steve Kerr and now really have Draymond have his right-hand man also be out, you not only send the message to Steve that, hey, get your guy in line, stop enabling the way you do post-game and letting him just get away with it, that could change Draymond. And maybe Draymond comes to the realization that, wow, now Steve's getting punished for my actions. Maybe I got to be a little bit better behaved on the court. That is a way better option than just going down the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and over again, finding Draymond, suspending Draymond, and expecting different results. If you expect a new Draymond Green after the suspension, you are not getting it. The only way you change Draymond, the only way you prevent these insane acts from happening on the court, I think would have been suspending Steve